Welcome, Anthonia. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with us today.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you.
That's great. We'd like to start off by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on, as well as acknowledging our ancestors, those who toiled without compassion or compensation. And we also acknowledge our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we continue to stand on as we do this great work and work towards our collective liberation. So I wanted to start off by having you introduce yourself, where you're from, and the origin of the work that you do.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I am Anthonia Ogundele. I'm the founder and executive director of Ethos Lab Educational Society, and we exist to empower youth to transform community and shift the culture of innovation. And we do this by providing access to resources, networks, workshops, and really an overall vibe to be able to support young people in seeing themselves in the areas of science, technology, engineering, art, and math. We have opened an innovation hub here in Vancouver, British Columbia, and our work is around taking our culture centered STEAM programming across the country and across North America in our innovation hubs as well too. Um, where the idea came from was really looking at the opportunities that my daughter had access to. She's 16 now, but started this work 3 years ago, where I saw that she was the only Black youth and girl in STEM programming. So she was a part of a gaming workshop, and she was the only one there. And also, she was looking for different spaces where I thought she could just go and hang out and be and create and foster that imagination. And I saw that there wasn't really anything like that. So putting those two things together and seeing that this was an acute challenge for other parents, in finding an innovative space where their young person could just come and create and just be, I decided to create Ethos Lab.
I love that. So, do you want to elaborate on like the mission and vision? I think I heard a little bit about what inspires you most. Obviously, having children that you want to push into that space. But if you want to elaborate on the vision and mission for us.
Yeah, so the vision is that all young people are able to be the fullest expression of their authentic selves. And our mission is around empowering youth to transform community and to shift the culture of innovation. What we believe is that it's not a program problem, it's more about a culture problem that is creating the barrier for young people in accessing spaces of innovation. So that might look like, it might be predominantly male, or it might be predominantly particular cultures, but especially and most acutely for Black youth, they're not seeing themselves in these different spaces. And so when you create a space that centers Black youth, but is open to all young people, meaning that we create a space where Black youth are respected, reflected, connected, and protected, you're actually creating a more inclusive environment for all young people. So we do open Ethos Lab to all young people, so all young people can see that there can be Black scientists, that they can be Black innovators, Black computer scientists, Black creators, content creators, and just everyone else in between, and even Black founders and executive directors like myself. And so I think it's really fostered this awesome environment, where we're finding that young people are able to, again, create projects that they never thought they could. So we really dive into emerging technologies specifically. So areas of mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, and such. And these are young people that may have not necessarily ever touched this type of technology before, and they're able to create and design things in these different spaces. But at the same time, what the research says is that in terms of fostering a place or a space where Black youth are able to enter into these areas of STEAM, that's what we call it. We add applied arts to it. Is that you do need to be able to see the mentors and the leaders, but more than anything, it's a supportive community around you. So we play a lot of games. We have a lot of fun. We are really just trying to create that entryway point for a young person to feel inspired.
Absolutely, that's great. I am familiar with the upgraded term STEAM over STEM. We've sort of integrated that at her network as well. We're big on STEAM, the trades, and of course, encouraging the youth in that. So I love what you do. And do your programs, are they online? Do you offer virtual as well?
We did during the pandemic, and we will be hybrid as we grow out our programming. However, right now it is mainly in person because we just opened our space about a year ago. So I want to be able to activate that space and make sure that we're able to, keep the facility moving and going and make it really lively. So we have Freestyle Fridays on Friday night, which is our social night. And so we just, trying to create those different opportunities to just kind of keep the heart bumping.
I love that. That's exciting. So you talked about being virtual now being in person instead, more specific. Do you have any challenges or barriers that you face in your work? What are they and how are you working to overcome them?
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest barriers as an organization, I'm sure you hear this all the time, is around funding as an organization and just having consistent funding. And so we've managed to get support from different sponsors. Most recently, we just received funding from the NBA and NBA Foundation, and also Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So there are organizations that are stepping up and seeing the value of what we're doing. We've had long-term support from Sony and Microsoft as well, and Van City Credit Union. And there are many other organizations in between that are supporting in that year over year way that we need. So I would say continuously funding is one of our barriers or challenges. I'm sure other organizations are experiencing this too, but talent remains a huge challenge. Being able to bring in individuals that understand the mission through and through, and then also at the same time have the different skills and abilities to be able to meet our organization where it's at. So as a startup organization, everyone's like, oh, it's so exciting. There's a lot of systems that need to be put in place. And sometimes it feels a little upside down, and you kind of got to be okay with that. And that's not for everybody. But I've worked with amazing people already that have been a part of our team. And so right now we are in a recruitment process to be able to take our organization to the next level. So I would say that that's one of the challenges, is like, how do you kind of go through this growth phase in a way where you maintain the core mission and vision and individuals that have been there, and as well as honoring where we've come from and the people that have come through, and also pushing forward into like, okay, what might it look like when we're in a different province? What might it look like if we're in a different municipality, and different things. So I'd say that those are kind of the challenges that we have.
For sure, can definitely relate. We all know how that is. I love how you so eloquently put it. The beginning
Things
is
are
very
crazy. Things are crazy.
grassroots operation. Very exciting to say the least.
Oh, I'm telling you.
No, I know exactly what you mean. So like I said, I really appreciate the way you framed that. Also just getting into a physical location, like you said, very exciting, lots of opportunities. So excited to do in-person things. So yeah, I really appreciate that. So do you have a key set of priorities that you're working on right now that you'd like to sort of highlight?
Yeah, so I'd say number one is really preparing ourselves for growth. We are in a phase where we're seeing a lot of interest, but we're also going through a lot of different team transitions. How do we expand into different spaces? So right now, I'd say that's one of our priorities, is how do we enter into the next municipality? So right now we're based in Vancouver. This is where our headquarters is. We want to be able to expand our services into Surrey, as well as start to look at what it might look like to be in a different province, as well as hiring a team to be able to execute on this priority as well, and making sure that we have the stability in place. This means that it was one thing to just have people who are here to help you out and we're moving forward, but really getting the right HR and onboarding systems to make sure that there is that stability. Everyone is moving towards the same mission, and it's and it's just like rock solid that we're a solid team. And I'd say number 3 is scheduling rest and reflection. There, in this type of work, you could be working 30 hours a day and you don't even know it. And in fact, I assume that there's 30 hours in a day, and there's not.
I just love the way you frame things.
This isn't 30 hours. I was begging for a couple, and truthfully, if we have extra hours in the day, I should be begging for extra hours in the day to rest, not to do more work. So
that's the thing. Isn't that like the key to like you're living your purpose, you're where you're supposed to be, when you're trying to find more time to get more done? And yeah, we should be using it for rest. My son yesterday, he's like, why are you sitting in front of the laptop if you're sleeping?
They don't lie. The kids don't lie, and they see it. They see it, and it's always challenging. Again, I have a 16-year-old, and she'll like look at me and she'll be like, Mom, you work so hard. And you're like, whoa, when you start seeing your kids saying that, you start to wonder, how is this impacting them? How is this impacting myself? I didn't have this many gray hairs before the pandemic. My hair was jet black. So let's just say it's been a couple of years, and so that's, I think, a huge priority, is that I definitely need more space to just rest, reflect, be inspired, and my team needs that as well too. So really looking at different scheduling options that allow for that space and freedom to be able to just breathe. So that, I'd say, is a huge priority, because there's a huge risk of burnout when you're just starting up and thinking about growth. So I want to grow responsibly.
I love that. Grow responsibly. And I have to say, you wear your crown very well.
Oh, thank you.
It looks very good. I know, obviously, it's shocking if you're saying it wasn't like that a couple years ago.
Oh, it wasn't. I had locks for 14 years just before this.
Okay.
So I'm looking at you, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go back.
No, you wear it very well. I feel like it hasn't aged you. Like, you still have a very young face. So
thank you.
Very nice, sis. You wear it well.
What if I told you I was 25? Then you'd be like, whoa. But I'm not 25. I'm not 25.
No, that's good. So yeah, loving the work that you do. It makes a big difference for sure. So how do you feel about the future of Black entrepreneurship in Canada, especially as it pertains to the youth? I know you're encouraging them into the STEAM trades and stuff like that. So how do you feel about the future?
You know what? The future is really bright with these young people. Like the ideas, they're starting their own, like it's easier for you to be able to start something now independently. So whether that be someone being a music producer, to someone being a photographer, to someone like creating their own app, to just actually making a line of code that can be proprietary. Like, there's so many different ways that a young person can be an entrepreneur. So I actually am really, really excited about what is possible. The other thing is that they're motivated. They're really motivated. They're really motivated to make that cash. And it's a really interesting thing. But what we want to be able to do is elevate it to like, what kind of problems can we solve that are really big, and have them really stretch themselves. But we did a market last year, and the kids were so excited to be able to share their stickers, or to share a 3D printed like prototype and pitch to different community members to fund it. So I'm really impressed by what the kids are. So I have a lot of optimism around that, and the ideas that the young people are putting forward. I will say, though, I have been, in my past, in my career, I'm an emergency manager. So I've managed disasters for over 15, 18 years of my career. So I used to work for the province of Ontario in emergency and disaster response, evacuating Indigenous communities, pandemic planning, all that other stuff. And I left just before the pandemic, which is ironic and fortuitous at the time. But entering and solving the problem around representation in STEAM is something I've never, it is an emergency and a problem that I could not I didn't actually realize how big the issue was, and how challenging it is, and how embedded it is within the K-12 school system, on what kids believe that they can do or can't do, just based on gender, just based on race, based on ability, like many of those different things. So I am really hoping that innovation, or social innovation at least, can meet these young people where they're at, to be able to support all of them in an equitable way, to be able to foster these ideas that they have coming forward. The education system is very stratified. We know that there are schools that are getting so many different resources, and other kids in schools don't. My daughter goes to a school where she was sharing a book with 5 other students, and that's her neighborhood school. And so creating spaces like Ethos Lab, where I know that she'd be able to get supplementary support, network with community, volunteer opportunities, enter into competitions. It allows her to be able to see herself just outside of what she might see herself in school, but also around a community of individuals that are resourcing her in a way. So I think that social innovation, or these areas that are investing in the future, need to really look at how we're distributing those funds. And so again, the foundations for Black communities, I believe, was the one that came up with that report on underfunded. And so it's outside of just the organizations, like how are we supporting our kids to be able to live out their dreams. So I'm willing to put seed investment in a lemonade stand. Right, like, so let's I think
I
there's a lot
love
of
that. I love that you touch on the fact that these young people are really excited to get the bag. I feel
oh
that
yeah
I think that, but that's the thing, is that I think that maybe the one of the perks of the gram is that they've been seen like this big lifestyle, bigger than what they come from, and so they want it. But maybe now it's not like I have to get there through becoming a rapper or the streets. Like, the
exactly
fact that STEAM is the way, I think that the Afrotext and the Be Future conferences that have been created to sort of celebrate Black excellence and Black people in tech, make it so sexy. You know what I mean? Make the cool thing now. So I love that. And like, obviously with your hub, that's just another space for them to come and get to that. So really appreciate that. That you've created that space for them and you see that. So also very optimistic about the future. If you could paint a picture for us of what the ultimate goal is for your organization in a perfect world, what would you like to create? What are you attacking? What does success look like for you?
Yeah, and I look at it twofold. So one is just like organizationally, it's a team that is just like extremely gelled, moving in the same direction, and we have innovation hubs across the country. So a young person that's in an Ethos Lab in Vancouver can connect and feel connected to a young person that's in Ethos Lab in Calgary, or one that's in Waterloo, or one that might be in like Kingston, Ontario, or even in Nova Scotia. So that is like the vision, is that we're creating a network of spaces for these young people to be able to connect physically, and just like know, oh, if I'm in Toronto, I can go swing by the Ethos Lab there because I'm connected. That's my network. That's who I'm connected with. But also that each one of these different spaces have the resources needed for these young people to be able to thrive and be who they ultimately choose to be in their future. Again, supporting them towards post-secondary education and careers, which is, again, a really big part of our mission as well too. But the second fold of it is also looking at matriculation, and that the young people that are coming into Ethos Lab are seeing that success in getting to their choice programs, or it's seeing post-secondary as an option, as well as building a portfolio into different careers that we're able to connect them with. And so starting to actually see that conversion into increasing representation in STEAM through access to our programming. So we start at grade 5 that a young person could be with Ethos Lab from grade 5 all the way to grade 12. And we support again into university, creating this like ecosystem for them to be able to continue to give back after they're out of it, but seeing, okay, are we actually making an impact in this pipeline? I think it requires this level of intensive connection and community to be able to see the young person at 10 to enter into that graduation ceremony in, civil engineering, in their 4th year of university. And right now, I don't see that same level of investment in a young person outside of perhaps if they're in specialized programs. How do we create that system where we're able to make that happen?
I love that. So do you have any words of wisdom for emerging leaders or young people who are entering the ecosystem and this space? What would you share with them?
What I would share with them is that if not you, who else? I'd like to say that I have no STEM background. My dad was an engineer. My sister's an engineer. My other one's a doctor. They've all got that. And I was a political science grad. I did go to Waterloo for urban planning, and I sit on the board at the University of British Columbia here. But I don't have that background. And so someone might look at me and be like, who do you think you are to start a STEM organization or a STEAM organization? And who am I not to? Have the audacity to be your fullest self, and don't be afraid. Step into your power and do what you're called to do.
I love that. You should have been at the feminist business seminar last week.
I would always
felt like you should have been up there. I love that. I'm always like, take up space, show up how you are. So yeah, I really appreciate that. And like you said, dare to do the things that don't make sense to other people. That was really shocking that you didn't have that background, but you saw the need, right? If not you,
it's so critical. It's so critical right now.
Yeah, if not you, who? Absolutely. So do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our community?
Oh, well, I said one of the number one challenges we have is funding. Feel free to go to www.ethoslab.ca, click the donate button that's up at the top. We could really use your support. $150 a month supports one young person through our programming throughout the year. So we are looking for people. It's that time of year. Give the gift of someone to access our programming.
I love that. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for doing the interview. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I think it's great as well, the fact that you are looking to expand into other municipalities. We, like I said, really champion the work that you do and just want to highlight your leadership. Remarkable work.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're just going to start close off the way we started by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on, as well as our ancestors and elders, those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We want to honor them and just continue to do this work so that we can learn together for our collective liberation and our future tomorrow. So thank you so much for your time today, Anthonia, and thank you to our viewers and listeners.
Thank you.